Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones and
This is the Talk Beat Jones, and I am Billy E. Jones, and want to thank you for joining us today. And let's share this program and let's put the likes on it. We appreciate all the family members that are doing all the things that is making this program very, very popular. And I want to say thank you to the family for doing this and working so hard to try to help the Talk Beat Jones do what I wanted to do, and that's to be the very, very best. So I should say, what do we, as my co-host, do you want? You want it to be the very best. Thank you so very much for supporting the Talk Beat Jones, Billy E. Jones. And to all of the family members, Facebook, etc., I want to say I've received your messages and your wonderful statements to me, and I want to apologize because I've just simply been overwhelmed with all of the comments and the likes and just the beautiful things that you have to say. And I just feel so bad that I'm not able to get back to you. It's only this one Billy Jones doing all the work, but I'm going to learn how to respond to all of the family members who have been responding to my efforts to put out a wonderful program for this world, this community, for you. And so continue to give me your reports, your thoughts, and your love, and I appreciate that. Once again, this is the Talk Beat Jones. I am Billy E. Jones, and remember, you can call us and talk, and let me give you a little understanding. This mask, I wear it so often, sometimes I forget now that I have it on. But in this situation that we are going through at this point, we've got to be consistent in wearing your mask and your shield, and I have my gloves. So make sure, family, that don't go for the okie doke. Somebody saying, oh, I've been good, and I went to Thanksgiving, and we only had X amount of people there, and everything was good. Nah, put on the face mask, even though they're family members and they've been off, they've been gone. So make sure that you do that to make sure that everything I got up, have it up, so that we can make sure that you're up to date on what it takes to stay safe. Okay? Tell your friends, Roku, Amazon, Apple, Cable Channel 90, the Apple. There are so many that I don't have to go through the process now. We've been doing this long enough that you know all the different live streaming, that we ask you to talk to your friends, give them the share button, give them the like button. And remember, when we start talking, it's not like you don't call in. You can call. You can call, and we ask you to write the numbers down because we will take them off the screen. And I will, of course, give you the numbers by voice. But again, we only leave the numbers on there for a short period of time, and then we are able to continue with our program. The numbers for those who were not able to see it, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336 are the numbers that you can call, and let's talk. One last thing here before we get ready to get going on the Talk Beat Jones. Because we are speaking to the world and to out of states, etc., when I have my guest host called, and when you call, you are my guest host. Generally, if we're talking more than 2 or 3 minutes, I will kind of come in and say something. Why? Because the folks who are listening will not know the voice, so I have to let them know who they are listening to. Okay? So it's not an interruption. It's just like a little beep. This is whomever I'm speaking to from wherever, and then get back into the conversation. Also, when a person is talking, does that mean that you can't call, that you can't speak on what you want to say, what you want to do, what you want to put out to the world? No, you can call. I'll put you on hold, and I'll get ready for you, and at the appropriate time, I will bring you on, and you are able to speak. So I want the world to understand that just because you're listening to someone talk, it doesn't mean that you can't call and voice your thoughts on the Talk Beat Jones. Once again, those numbers. You ready? Got your pen and paper? Or however you do it. I'm going to give them to you twice. 313-868-0342. 313 is always the area code. 868-0342. 868-0351. 868-0351. And once again, last numbers, 868-4336, 868-4336. Now, you can call and you can join us, but I've gotten a message that everyone is really enjoying the message that is being brought through the airways. And I want to thank you, but I would want to hear a little something from you on the Talk Beat Jones again. I am Billy E. Jones. Remember, the Talk Beat Jones, we're on the air every Wednesday. We come on live. The time is from 10 to 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. And of course, please share. I see I have someone waiting, but before I go to my caller, well, let me find out who we have first. This is the Talk Beat Jones. I am Billy Jones, and who do I have waiting to come on the air?
This is Leo.
Oh, okay. Leo from where?
Oakland, California.
Okay. Now, the reason I do that, Mr. Leo, because remember, every day we have folks that don't have no idea who Leo is. Nowhere. Don't know who he is, where he's from. So that's why I ask for that information. Can you hold on just 1 second, Mr. Leo Brazil of Oakland? I tell you what, Mr. Leo Brazil.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it a little different today. Let's do it a little different. I'm walking past Walt's Hickory Pit in Oakland, California. You remember that place, of course, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going in for breakfast, and I look up on the TV screen in the Walt's Hickory Pit, and I see Mr. Leo Brazil, councilman, activist, and the cameras have turned on, and there is Mr. Leo Brazil. Let me hear what Mr. Leo Brazil want to bring to the community wherever you are, Mr. Leo Brazil. Let's do your show.
Well, if I was still the councilman, I would probably be in Walt Hickory Pit, because that was my breakfast place in my district out on 105th.
That's right. That's right. My Jones size was right across the street in the medical building.
Walt Thornton and his family ran that business for many, many years, and it's gone today. But I would be on there probably, if I was on television, I would be on Soul Beat Television talking about the kinds of things that you talk about on the Talk Beat Jones here.
Well, let me give you about 3 or 4 minutes, and let's hear from Mr. Leo Brazil, and I'll come in a little later, but let the world hear from Mr. Leo Brazil, because they need to understand. They too, there's councilmen, people who were ex-councilmen, ex-mayors, ex-governors, but We have local activists, etc. We have activists from that area there, from anywhere around the world that may have something that they want to say. Because Mr. Leo Brazil, here in Detroit, I hear the activists and the community, they're talking about how can we have a white mayor with over 80% of the population is black.
Well,
The
color of the mayor shouldn't be any problem. The policies of the mayor is what the problem is, and if the color of the mayor helps him to identify with the problems of the community, then that matters. But if the color of the mayor doesn't help you move the problems, you just putting something on the solution that is not going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Now, in a city that at one point was almost 95% black, we've come from the last X amount of mayors have been black, except for this point, except for the mayor that we have at this point. So the folks are saying we want a black mayor, and the process is that in Oakland, California, before, as the Black Panthers were coming together, and as they were together, and as they went from just being street politics to political politics, and I believe one of the first offices that they identified was the office of mayor. Is that somewhat correct?
Yeah, the mayor is the most visible political person in the community. You have people that are...
Wait, I want to ask, though, now, was that, back in that time, was that because the mayor was doing a good job, or because the mayor was not doing a good job, or was it because the mayor was white and the community wanted to see black faces in those offices at that time?
No, the mayor is just a visible political office. There are many other political offices in the system. The city council, for instance, are the ones who vote for the budget, and at the time, the city manager was the one who then carried out or executed what policies the people passed through their city council.
Wait, Mr. Wait, Leo.
Policies was ignoring the African American community, and that's
I'm trying to interrupt you for one process, Leo. I'm trying to interrupt you for one process, and I'm going to come back and I'll be quiet after this. The form of mayorship, in terms of how the city of Oakland, California, was governed during that time, was under a different understanding than when the former Governor Brown came to office. He said that part or that style of government will not work. If you want me to be the mayor of Oakland, California, you're going to have to change it whereby the mayor has the power. I'm saying this because during that time, I don't believe the mayor had the power. It was more of like he was a figurehead. Is that correct somewhat?
That's correct.
Thank you. So I want to get the difference in that Oakland operated in that fashion, but here in Detroit, the mayor has the hammer. He is the hammer. So that's the difference between the Oakland politics up until Jerry Brown came to Soul Beat Television and told the folks that if they want him to run for mayor, they would have to vote a different form of government that allows him to make all the decisions. And you remember Robert Bobb, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to the people, and I'm going to want you to go back and hit all these things, and let me just kind of be quiet. I'm trying to jog your memory somewhat, because Robert Bobb came out here as an emergency manager, and I think the people needed to know a little bit of history from Oakland, who had first dealt with Robert Bobb. Can you help us out a little bit? And I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to drink my coffee and let you talk. Mr. Leo Brazil, former city councilman, a leading activist, not a former, but a Black Panther, and also an attorney. Go right ahead, Mr. Leo Brazil, Oakland, California.
Yeah, well, you did jog my memory with respect to Robert Bobb, because the problem in Oakland was that the city manager was the person who ran the government day to day, and the policies were made by the city council that met once a week, and the mayor was simply a member of the city council, but he was called the mayor, so he had a few other prerogatives more than the other city council members had. And so we did not like that form of government, and we wanted to change it because primarily the city council members ran, and like the mayor, at large, meaning that everybody in the city voted for all 9 members. So we broke that down and wanted to have districts in there. The people in the districts vote for the city council, and then to have the mayor voted by the city at large. And if he got extra privileges like extra money, he would have to face all of the people different from the district members. And so that is what Jerry Brown came in and says that he didn't want that. He wanted off of the city council and wanted to be the executive mayor. And so the powers of the city manager had to be put into the mayor's office, and the city manager then would be an appointee of the mayor and work under the mayor. He would still run the city day to day, but he would be running it under the mayor. So if there was any problems in the city, you could then look to the mayor and say, what are you going to do about this? And the majority of the people in the city were minorities, but the majority of the voters in the city were white, and therefore the whites still controlled that form of government.
Wait, would you say that again? The majority of the folks was what we considered at that time, number-wise, was minority, but the folks who was voting was what?
Well, the people who turned out for the polls in local government. You see, that's a problem even today. Most people don't even bother to vote in the local government races. They vote heavily in the governor's race. They vote heavily in the presidential races, but they don't care nothing about the school district or the dog catcher or the sheriff or all these other down ballot positions that they call them. And therefore, whites was the ones who control those offices because they voted 70% no matter what election. We were lucky as the minorities to get up to 40% in a precinct in an election, in a down ballot election.
Okay.
The only time we got up to that 70% is when Bobby Seale and the Panthers took on the mayor of Oakland and put the organization down on the streets, precinct by precinct, door by door, grocery bag by grocery bag, school lunch program by school lunch program. Did the grassroots respond and thrust him into the primary, into the general election against the mayor, scared the white people to death. That 70% of whites went up to 80%, and they still maintained the office until Jerry Brown came in.
The person that gave the citizens of Oakland, that is the voting folks and citizens of Oakland, the Panthers ran, I believe, was it a lady at first, or was it Bobby Seale at first?
It was Bobby Seale at first. He ran for mayor, and Elaine Brown ran for city council. Okay.
And it continued up until the time that we had the judge run for mayor. Is that correct?
Well, yes. That didn't. The first step was to change the charter to district elections. So that came into place, which then made the mayor still had to run at large, but the other people ran by districts. And it stayed that way until Bobby came in and challenged and shook up the system. And so
to my Bobby Seals.
Bobby Seale. But another gentleman, a black gentleman named Otho Green, who was considered the black middle class's candidate, the acceptable or responsible candidate. Bobby was considered the radical. And it was expected that the responsible Negro, as we would call it in those days, was going to win, but he did not. Bobby beat him and came in second and ended up in the runoff with the mayor. And so the closeness of Bobby almost beating this man showed the responsible Negro community that if they got one that was acceptable to white people, that they might be able to pull it off, and that's what they did. They
I think the key word you said
Judge Lionel Wilson offered the Superior Court and ran him for mayor the next time, and he won.
Because he was acceptable to the white voters.
Well, he was acceptable to a percentage of white voters
That's
to
what I
go
mean.
along with Bobby's radical or black voters. Because
Yes.
Bobby got all of the black, the Asians, the Mexicans, but he couldn't get enough of the whites to come over. But Mayor Wilson brought enough of the whites over to that coalition, and if Bobby and the other minorities had walked on him, he wouldn't have won either. But the reason why they stayed together is because they were moving into the political thrust. This is the Black Power era, and we recognized the coalitions was important, and so the whites that came into the coalition helped us pull it over.
And that helped Judge Lionel Wilson become the mayor of Oakland, correct?
That's the first black mayor, yes.
Yes. And we had a run of black mayors after Judge Wilson, three?
Yeah, by that time, after Lionel Wilson, he did 13 years. So in that period of time, we went all the way minority. We were 52% minority. We had 40-some% blacks and another 15% or so of Asians and Mexicans. So the city was clearly minority, and from that point on, the next three mayors, Lionel Wilson was followed by Elihu Harris. Elihu Harris was followed by Ron Dellums, and then
you mean Congressman Ron Dellums?
Yeah, well, Assemblyman Elihu Harris, who had served many years in the California Assembly, came out of the Assembly and replaced Lionel Wilson. And then Congressman Ron Dellums, who had been our congressman for 30-some years, retired from Congress, came back and ran for mayor of Oakland, and he did 4 years before we then went to Jerry Brown.
And
that was because the gentrification was taking place during those years.
Wait. When you say, can you explain this, Mr. Leo Brazil? Because, again, people are hearing, and we can't just rush that. When you mention about gentrification, what do you mean, gentrification?
Well, gentrification meaning that the reason why Lionel and the minorities could ascend in the first place is because whites were fleeing the cities in the 60s, in the 50s, and going to the suburbs. And so eventually minorities pouring in to replace them. And so the minorities then started their move into the political realm, and that was with Bobby Seale and everything. We culminated with Lionel Wilson. Well, when Lionel Wilson came in and started bringing in policies, and Jimmy Carter got to be president, and money started flowing for that 4-year period into urban areas, the urban areas started to grow. Plus, Silicon Valley blew up here in the Bay Area, and the economy started to flow. Well, as soon as the economy started to flow, the banks opened up the loans to the black middle class that allowed them to move from the city into the suburbs with their white counterparts. And so they flooded out into the suburbs and left the inner city with what you would call with today the lower educated population. And that lower education population could not own their homes and maintain the streets or whatever, so things started going down, and the whites started coming in and picking up the properties at cheap prices, and then their children started moving in.
Hold on, Mr. Leo Brazil. Hold on, Mr. Leo Brazil. I want my family in Detroit, Michigan. I want you to make sure that you are listening to the sequences that Mr. Leo Brazil is speaking to you about. And family, I've mentioned the fact that the Talk Beat Jones, what we're doing in many cases is showing you the template that was used in one area, one city, in order to take that template that works and bring it to other black cities. And that's exactly, if you listen to the sequences that Mr. Leo Brazil is laying out for you, he could be talking about Detroit. Go ahead, Mr. Leo Brazil.
Well, that was a formula that happened consistently throughout all the cities. So that when the banks, when suburbs started, when the whites started going to the suburbs, you had farmland outside of Oakland. You know, the Hayward is the city next door to Oakland. Hayward, their high school team was called the Farmers. So the Hayward Farmers. So that lets you know what kind of territory it was out there. So that was farmland when I was growing up there in the late 40s and the early 50s.
Okay.
But in the mid 50s, the bank started loaning the white people money to move to the new suburban developments that was taking place on that farmland, because that's where the World War II generation that was coming home and making us, the baby boomers, wanted to live and have new homes. And so the banks loan them money. But you let a black military father like my father come into the bank and say, I would like some money because I would like to buy a house out in Hayward. Oh, no, we couldn't get it. And what was that called? That was called redlining, because they redlined the city of Oakland and said we only loan the minorities to stay in the city. Whites outside of the line could get loans. And so that's what sucked the whites out. And then when the whites went out, the schools went down and everything else. So those blacks who had income, had the jobs at the automotive plants and whatever, you know, steady income, labor income, they then wanted to move to the suburbs too. And their children was growing up, where they wanted to move to the better schools.
Is that why
they could not get the loans because the banks
okay, we got it.
them the money.
Okay, now, is that why West Oakland, with all those big, beautiful homes, became a ghetto?
Yes, that was the entry point. You see, West Oakland was the entry point. That's where the train station was. So people coming up from the south, the first place they would hit was West Oakland. So that was where they would look for a property, right, or a place to rent. So that's where they could rent, because the whites who owned those old Victorian houses were moving into East Oakland and other areas that was developing the newer homes. So they didn't like those old climbing up the stairs type homes and everything that they had from the Victorian age.
So the folks who had those homes, they were renting their homes out to the black folks while they moved on up and had income to pay for their other properties that they had bought. Is that somewhat true?
That's exactly.
I want my folks to listen, because this is not just a conversation between this man and me, folks. This is a conversation showing you the template that black folks all across the United States of America listen to what has happened and how it happened, and you wonder, how did your community get to the position that it's in at this date? Please listen. Activists, listen, because you'll find that there is a difference in the end, but there was a growing process. Please continue, Mr. Leo Brazil of Oakland, California.
So those black people that had steady income, and that was usually union people that worked in jobs that was unionized and therefore had a good salary, they wanted to buy homes. But they could not get the banks to loan them the money, even though they had the monthly income that could service the notes, unless they were going to be staying in West Oakland or North Oakland while the whites moved to East Oakland. Then we broke through in the late 50s and was able to move into East Oakland and into some of the hill areas in Oakland. The whites then sold them those homes at great margins and then completely went to the suburbs. And that lasted just for a little while, because now Oakland was moving to be a major minority city, right?
Okay, now I need to skip, because, excuse me, Leo, because of time now, I got to jump in and out because we got to skip some things. Right. But here's what I want you to do, please, is you told us what happened to West Oakland, and I mentioned that West Oakland, those big, beautiful homes, etc., became a ghetto. Can you describe, real quickly, before I ask for another point of view, before I go to commercial break, can you describe what West Oakland looks like today?
Well, West Oakland is being gentrified because the whites are coming back. The young whites from the University of California went to Berkeley, Cal, and saw those nice homes. They were held by low-income people who, in many instances, still didn't own them. and therefore they could come in and buy them and put the people out, and that's what's happening today. It is beautiful over there now because while we as activists fought to bring that federal money in, we brought our community up. That was West Oakland. We underground the utilities, grew trees, picked the parks up and everything.
Yes.
And then the black middle class got sucked out of the town, and therefore the banks stopped loaning people money to stay in West Oakland and started loaning whites the money to come back into West Oakland.
Got it. Now we're going to put a pin on that for a moment because I do want to come back and hit on what effect did Mr. Robert Bobb, and I do want to be corrected if I'm wrong, I do believe that Mr. Robert Bobb also had some influence on San Francisco before he came to Oakland. I don't know if I got it twisted, but I'm sure you'll give me the clarification because I'm sure folks would have to understand in Detroit, Michigan, folks, Robert Bobb is But I do want you to know that it's not just Detroit. I want you to know his track record when he was in Oakland, California.
He came from Baltimore.
He came from Baltimore and wherever else because he's a person that moves around to different places. We got a history on Mr. Robert Bobb, and I have that that Detroit is did for him.
Baltimore, Oakland, Washington, D.C., and Detroit.
Yes. So the reason I asked that question is because I believe that there was a situation because they told us Gwen McCain, you know McGwen, said that Robert Bobb walked on water. I want to ask the question of you is, when we come back after commercial break, what was the relationship between Robert Bobb and Mayor Jerry Brown? But we're going to take a commercial break and we'll come back and we'll come talk further about that because, again, family, this is a program today is for you to understand activists. They say if you don't know your history, you really don't know where you're going and you don't really know where you are. And your history may not be necessarily you walking out your door. It may not be you necessarily getting the information from the internet or from reading your books. It could be as we did old school style, which is verbal. Remember how things was passed down by voice? We're doing that today. Mr. Leo Brazil is giving you some history that is not just for Oakland, California. It's for you, wherever you are. We're going to come back after commercial breaks and we'll talk more. Mr. Leo Brazil, Oakland, California. Remember, if you have questions or if you have comments, you too can call in on the Talk Beat Jones. I am Billy E. Jones. Remember, every Wednesday from 10 to 11, we're here live. Be back shortly.
African Ease. We have an array of products to assist you in all your beauty or body needs. Do you want curly, soft, beautiful hair? Well, try our Relaxer line, designed to leave your hair soft, silky, and full of body. Or would you like beautiful, straight, shiny, long-lasting hair? Well, try our Cherry or Extreme Hold Spritz with our Cream Shine. It's guaranteed to give you that look you want. How about dry, achy feet or legs that you can't seem to keep moisturized? Well, try our African Shea Butter Foot Lotion. We have many products to help you with all phases of your beauty and body needs. For a full list of all our products, please visit our website at www.aeasysilk.com or call us at 313-277-2319.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is RJ Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
We at Watkins Broadcasting care about the health and safety of our viewers and listeners. During this novel coronavirus pandemic, please protect yourself and others. Wash your hands well and often. Avoid touching your face. Cough and sneeze into your sleeve. Practice social distancing. Stay at least 6 feet away from others when in public and only leave the house when it's essential. Stay safe. You are important to us.
Hi, I'm Tim Smith, also known as Timmy Tim, Technical Director here at WHPR TV and Radio. We want to wish you and your family the merriest of happy holidays.
You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones. And
This is the Talk Beat Jones again, and I am Billy E. Jones, and we're talking with Mr. Leo Brazil of Oakland, California, and he's giving us some wonderful, wonderful information. I also want to speak on the fact, Mr. Leo Brazil, that you spoke about the judges. I brought to the fact that Trump is putting together all these judges for these court cases, and I'm saying these judges, he got them planted so that he can win. You came across with a different understanding about how the system would work, and I have to, as I said before, bow to you, sir, because it's coming out true. But before we go there, let's go back to Mr. The Mayor Brown and my guy, the one that nobody likes. Leo?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you want to talk about those? That's
Well, the one you're talking about that nobody likes is Robert Bobb. I don't know what his relationship is in Detroit. He came from Baltimore, highly recommended. When we wanted to maintain the black power in Oakland, our city manager, Henry Gardner, was leaving. So
a black guy, Henry Gardner, a black person who had been running the city of Oakland for many, many years, because that was the way the politics was set up. Is that somewhat true?
Yeah, but he was a local guy. In other words, he was native, not native born, but he was homegrown in Oakland, and so he brought in people who were from Oakland and knew Oakland. When he left, Robert Bobb came in from Baltimore, and Robert Bobb was an excellent administrator, knew his business, could do all kinds of great things because he was qualified, overly qualified in many instances. But he did not know Oakland. And his problem was he brought in his own people from Baltimore then and started replacing our Oakland people with people that were comfortable with him.
Sound familiar? Sound familiar, Detroit? Sound familiar, Detroit? Go right ahead.
So he did not know the neighborhood leaders and the church leaders and the other people that you had to know to get things done in Oakland, you see. And so that caused him to fall out of favor. But he eventually left.
Call out. He fell out of favor with whom?
Well, he fell out of favor with Jerry Brown because Jerry Brown came in, and that's when the strongman form of government was changed to try to get rid of the city manager.
But what I want to understand is that prior to Jerry Brown coming in and being elected mayor, Robert Bobb was in place. He was running things as such.
He ran the city. He ran the city day to day. The city council made the rules. Mayor L.U. Harris was the mayor, but he was on the city council like the rest of us. But he was the mayor, like I told you. Lionel Wilson and Henry Gardner got along real good.
Okay, but wait. I want to stay with the time process that Bob and what he was doing was running things. And Jerry Brown, I was the person that was the host on Morning Beat Television when he walked in, got on my show, made the announcement to the public, to the people, that for him, because everybody was after Jerry Brown to run for mayor, and he made the announcement on Soul Beat on my show that he would run for mayor, but there would have to be a change. If they want him to run for mayor, there has to be a change. They made that change, and in the meantime, going into that election, Robert Bob was still running things, making decisions, etc. I'm skipping forward. When Jerry Brown became mayor, he let Robert Bob know who was in charge. Robert Bob did not want to go along with that fact, and he was fired by Jerry Brown.
Well, he
or removed or whatever.
He applied for the job in Washington D.C.
But he was going to be gone because Jerry Brown. That's why Jerry Brown put in the fact that he was not going to work under someone. If you want him, he was going to be the man and make the decisions. And the decision was because that process was about the stadium.
Right.
That Robert Bob and Jerry Brown got into it.
Billy, it's two strong personalities cannot be in the same room together.
And I'm saying this to bring it to the fact, folks who are listening in Detroit, they understand what Robert Bob did to the city of Detroit. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going into a whole lot of stuff, but I'm just putting things out for folks to recognize the history of how they have come across and placed folks in black cities to help them take control.
Right.
That's what happened. That's the bottom line of that. Your president, help us understand what's going on with the president of the United States of the America, please.
He's a con man, and con man always got to find a new angle. What was that movie that Leo DiCaprio played when he was even an airline pilot. He was doing all kinds of stuff in that movie, moving from one scheme to the next. Well, that's what Trump does. He just moves from one scheme to the next.
And so what do you feel the effect that Trump will have on the Biden administration, that since he'll still have Mitch McConnell running things?
Yeah. McConnell will still control the Senate, and he will block everything that the Republicans do not want, and everything that Joe Biden and all of them pass through the House, they'll send it over to the Senate, and it'll sit there just like it's sitting there now.
So what do you feel if you have this type of block game going, and you've got a master at that in McConnell? And as I told folks, you know, when people say, well, we'll know if the president's talking to somebody because it'll be on his telephone or it'll be on some type of record. Leo, I told folks, if you've got the man's wife that's working for you and you having personal conversations with her to pass to him, and he's having personal conversation with his wife to pass to you, is there anybody else to know exactly what your strategy is except for you two?
Nope.
That's exactly what I told folks was going on. Do you think that Trump is out of the game now because he has the WWE mastermind behind him?
Yeah, but he won't have the cabinet or the executive branch.
But
he cannot execute. He will be able to block because he will keep Mitch McConnell in line because Mitch needs Republican majority to do anything. And Trump is not going to let anybody be in the Republican majority because he's going to be like Bobby Seale was in Oakland. Bobby Seale came out, got his percentage of the votes. The black middle class couldn't take over the mayor's office without Bobby Seale staying in the coalition.
So you pocket the votes and you carry them around as gold.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think the future is going to hold in terms of the COVID-19 vaccine?
Oh, we're going to the best thing that happened to us because we're going to get out of this disease because Biden and the Democrats are going to bring the vaccine in and get it widely distributed, and we're going to get rid of this disease. But Trump is going to take credit. He's going to run around the country saying, the vaccine was found doing while I was in office.
They have the vaccine, but if the folks are opposed to taking it, how do you think that would work?
That's on them.
No. I mean, I understand you're saying that's on them, but the process is that they say that there's almost 40% resistance in the polls. Said folks don't want to take it.
Billy, we now know that of 330 million people in America, 1/3 of those people, that's 110 million people. Trump got 75 million of that 110. So it lets you know 110 million people in this country are damn fools. So you can find you 40 or 50 million people to believe anything. And so I'm going to be one of the first ones to take the vaccine.
Wait, stop. I heard going around the world with all the people saying, I ain't going to be the first to jump in the line. I heard Mr. Leo Brazil of Oakland, California said he's willing to be one of the first to jump in and take that virus, to take that vaccine. Is that right?
As soon as I'll be right in the line behind Dr. Fauci and his family. If they take it, I'm taking
it. You'll be in the line behind them.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be the very first one now. I'm going to be behind the scientists. That's what I'm saying. Dr. Fauci and the scientists say they satisfied with this vaccine.
Well, how would the scientists?
I'm going to be one of the first ones in line because I'm 77 years old. So got underlined all of, I'm in the top priority that they're going to give it to you. You're not going to get none, Billy, because you're in good shape. You got to wait till June.
Bro, you got to understand. Don't let the TV fool you. But the question here is, as I'm listening to different radio hosts and different folks ask the question, when we are listening to different medications that folks are taking, that are legally approved, et cetera, you hear them say, well, if you got this problem, you take this. Well, you got that one problem. But when you take this, now you got another 8, 9, potentially 10 other side effects that on this day-to-day medication that you're taking 1, 2, 3 times a day, that you're playing like like lottery, that you keep taking it, you may develop these side effects from this medication, including death. That says on some you may develop.
Not you will, you may develop. I have been taking insulin for 40 years, and I know that, and when they told me you could develop stroke, you could develop heart disease or whatever, but if you don't take it, this insulin is going to kill you. You don't take your insulin, it's going to kill you for diabetes. Your kidneys and everything else is going to collapse. So you may develop a stroke. You may develop a heart problem, but I ain't developed none of that for 40 years.
And I never would have known that because, you physically, you look like a Jim Brown, that's why we say the Leo the Lion.
But diabetes is not a debilitating disease if you take it. If you take the medication, if you don't take the medication, then you're in trouble. But the medication, I have every morning take a shot.
Okay.
And if all I got to take is one shot for the flu, that's what I take every year. Been taking it for 40 years.
Okay.
So if this new vaccine come along and the scientists say we think it's cool, it may this, it may that, it may that, but it will stop that COVID, hey, I'm going to be in line right behind the scientists.
So for the folks who are saying right now,
the same people that said don't wear no mask,
and they're saying, I don't know, this is developed so fast under Trump, I don't know. Has it totally been researched that it's going to be totally safe? And then the question comes up, is anything in life totally safe?
No.
There's
no medicine you taking that don't have side effects. They're just telling you because the lawyers told them. You're going to get sued if you don't tell people this could happen. Even though it only may happen to 5 people out of 500,000, those 5 people are going to sue you big time because you didn't tell them.
So, like the flu, help me understand about the flu, because every year comes around, every year, not every other year, but every year they tell you that you have to take another flu shot. Do you see coming up that the COVID-19 vaccine will become one of those situations because they say that your protection may wane. That every year you may have to take a COVID shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as the disease is around, they're going to have to take the COVID shot.
Do you think this may become somewhat?
The flu comes around every year, so
Yes.
you got to take that flu shot.
Yes. So, do you think, Mr. Leo Brazil, Oakland, California, that the vaccines are going to become mandatory
No.
for working sites?
Well, it could. That's the only way it could become mandatory. Government cannot force you to take the shot. But your employer can tell you, I'm not going to hire you the same way he used to tell you, I'm not going to hire you if you smoke marijuana, if you got marijuana in your blood. So what do you do? What do you do when you couldn't get that job with the marijuana? You go and try to go to the health food store and get something that would cover it up.
Leo, how do you know all that? You attorney. Oh, your client's okay.
Yeah. And when you had to take the urine test, right? Who you go? You go to your cousin and say, "Man, give me your urine because we got the same DNA. Be in this bottle for me so I can take it to work."
Now, folks, you're getting too much information. But that sounds good. At any rate, this COVID vaccine is going to become a situation where we say, well, is it going to become mandatory? Well, are your children going to go to school? Are you going to go to high school? Are you going to go to college? Well, are you going to say that you have to have your shots while you're attending schools? Help me to understand. I believe that there were, when you started elementary school or preschool, etc., you had to have a record of shots.
Yes, and that was a big Supreme Court case because there were certain religions that said we don't take shots. We don't want our children to take shots. And they said, fine, your children can't go to school, but since it's mandatory that your children go to school, we're going to put you in jail for not having your children in school, not for not taking a shot.
So there could be a lot more consequences or more things for folks, especially black folks, because black folks saying, well, wait a minute, they keep talking about black folks. Well, what about them white folks? They say they're not going to take it. They don't want to wear masks, and you think if they won't wear masks, you think they're going to take the shots?
Are they wearing masks now? Because that disease started killing their asses in North Dakota and all them places where they talking about they wasn't going to do it, but now they're wearing the mask, right? Even Trump's people wearing the mask now. But what if they should have worn it 6 months ago? We wouldn't have that problem, and Herman Cain's old butt would still be here with us.
Well, I also would like to do a special appreciation of love and respect to Mr. Tom Wilson, who, as folks are watching me on television here, was an actual on-set television host with me, as well as television talk show host with me. He passed with the COVID. And State Rep Isaac Robertson, and again, as you see me here, Mr. State Rep Isaac Robertson was a person who came and was co-hosting on my show, Talk Beat Jones, and we had plans going into this elections, etc., and he died of COVID-19. And I can go on with furthers. So it's very, very tender to me when folks say, it's not all. It is that much, folks. It is that much. And so I'm going to rely upon your judgment, Mr. Leo Brazil, in terms of using that third eye to help us understand where are we going to be when they start saying the vaccine is ready, you got to take the vaccine.
No, you should take the vaccine.
You should take the vaccine. And
they cannot mandate that you take it.
Now, you do know that we have all of these folks who are having mental issues, mental illness issues, that will say, I don't care what you say, I ain't taking snatch.
Okay, well, don't show up. Don't show up at certain institutions asking for service.
The reason I ask that question is we have what is called group homes.
You're not going to get in unless you got a shot.
Okay. Okay. You answer my questions that even though they need that, even though they have to have a place to live, they may have income. You may have income, and this home takes care of folks who are indigent or people who need care. Those folks will be telling you if you don't have the shot, you can't be a resident under their care. Is that somewhat of what you're saying?
Here's where the government comes in, because they tell that institution, are you getting any federal or state money? Oh, yeah, we are. Well, you're not going to get no money unless you mandatorily require your clients to have the COVID shot.
Take 30 seconds or 40 seconds, sir, and say and do your goodbyes to the world.
Well, I'm always glad to be on here with Billy Jones, trying to put information out into the universe, helping the universe expand in knowledge, and that's what Billy Jones is all about.
Well, I tell you this, Mr. Leo Brazil, the likes and the shares and the views on our program is in the top, is in the very top at this station. And I want to thank again the family members for their support. And I hope that the information, take the word hope. I'm assured that the information that you're receiving for some of you is very important. And my wonderful activist community, we support you, we love you, and we want to give you some understanding as to what and how things was and how things changed. And if you're in that particular cycle of trying to figure out some things, maybe the history of Oakland, California through Mr. Leo Brazil has been able to open your eyes a little bit greater. We love you. We respect you. We appreciate you. And continue to be safe. Wear your mask, your gloves, and keep yourself 6 foot apart from people that you don't know. Love you. Thank you. Bye now.
Yes, sir.
Because this is the Talk Beat Jones, and